The cameras roll and the familiar rhythm of the show begins with smiles that feel practiced and questions that sound friendly until you listen closely. The panel leans in with that look. Viewers recognize the look that says this will be a confrontation wrapped in conversation. Tulsi Gabbard sits calmly, hands folded, posture relaxed, eyes steady. She knows the terrain, she knows the tactics, and she knows that power does not always announce itself loudly. The first question comes framed as concern but edged with accusation. A comment about loyalty. A suggestion that her views are dangerous or out of step. The audience murmurs, expecting fireworks. What they get instead is composure. Tulsi pauses, not out of hesitation but out of respect for the moment. Then she speaks slowly, choosing clarity over theatrics. She reframes the premise without attacking the person asking it. She explains the difference between disagreement and disloyalty, between independence and betrayal. Her words land softly but precisely, dismantling the assumption built into the question. The panel tries to regain control with interruptions and overlapping voices, but Tulsi does not rush. She waits and then continues, finishing her thought as if the interruptions never happened. The contrast becomes the story. On one side urgency and volume. On the other side patience and facts. A company host pivots to a more aggressive angle, invoking labels and past soundbites taken out of context. Tulsi smiles slightly, not smug, not defensive, just confident. She asks to clarify a quote and then provides the full context with dates and outcomes. She does not accuse the show of misrepresenting her, she simply corrects the record. The audience senses the shift. When someone is yelling, corrections feel like attacks. When someone is calm, corrections feel like truth. She acknowledges concerns about policy and then outlines her position in plain language, focused on results and consequences rather than party lines. Each sentence closes a door that the panel hoped to push open. She refuses to be boxed in. She refuses to be reactive. The tension rises because the usual playbook is failing. Another host attempts a gotcha, asking if she regrets challenging powerful institutions. Tulsi responds by redefining courage. She talks about service and accountability, about the responsibility to ask hard questions regardless of who holds power. She speaks about unity not as a slogan but as a discipline that requires honesty. There is no grandstanding, no applause-seeking pause, just a steady rhythm of explanation that leaves little room for caricature. The panel tries to jump in again, but the moderator hesitates, sensing the audience is listening in a different way now. The room is quieter. The energy has changed. Calm has become commanding. As the segment nears its end, a final attempt is made to provoke a soundbite. A leading question suggests that her calm is calculated. Tulsi nods and answers plainly. Of course it is calculated, she says, not with sarcasm but with sincerity. She believes leaders should be measured because decisions affect lives. The simplicity disarms the cynicism behind the question. The camera cuts to the panel and for a brief moment no one speaks. The silence says everything. The calm precision has done what volume could not. It has shifted the ground. The conversation resumes, but the footing is different now. The panel adapts, switching from confrontation to commentary, trying to reclaim narrative control. Tulsi continues, answering directly, never overstaying her point, never conceding to false premises. She acknowledges complexity without hiding behind it. When asked about criticism, she differentiates between good faith disagreement and bad faith attacks. She invites the former and dismisses the latter with grace. The audience responds not with cheers but with attention, which in live television is the rarest currency. Each answer feels like a lesson in restraint. Not passive restraint but active discipline. As the hosts try to summarize her positions, Tulsi corrects a mischaracterization with a single sentence. She thanks them for the platform and emphasizes the importance of open dialogue. The courtesy lands like a mirror held up to the room. It exposes the contrast without accusing anyone. The segment ends and the show moves on, but the moment lingers. Viewers at home replay the exchange, realizing they witnessed something uncommon. Not a shouting match, not a viral meltdown, but a masterclass in keeping control by giving none away. Calm precision did not just survive the gauntlet. It quietly took it apart. The aftermath unfolds in real time as social feeds light up. Clips circulate, not of yelling but of pauses, of clear explanations, of a steady gaze under pressure. Commentators argue about who won, but the comments tell a simpler story. People noticed the difference. They noticed that certainty does not need volume and that composure can feel like strength when it is rooted in clarity. The panel reconvenes later in the show attempting to contextualize the exchange. Some double down. Others soften. The audience senses recalibration. Tulsi is no longer the subject of interrogation, she is a reference point. In follow-up interviews, hosts elsewhere ask what strategy she used. She answers the same way she always does. Preparation, honesty, and respect for the audience. She believes viewers deserve more than spectacle. She believes conversations should illuminate, not inflame. The irony is that this approach becomes the most explosive element of all. Because it deprives the machine of its fuel. When outrage meets calm, outrage burns out. Back on the show, the producers tease another segment, but the earlier exchange has already set the tone. The panel is more cautious. Questions are more precise. Interruptions fewer. Calm precision has a ripple effect. It raises the bar. Even disagreement becomes sharper because it must be substantive. The audience benefits. Weeks later, the clip still circulates, not because it was cruel or humiliating in the way people expect, but because it inverted expectations. The title writes itself in the minds of viewers who saw it unfold. It was not about embarrassing anyone. It was about revealing the power of steadiness in a format that rewards noise. Tulsi Gabbard did not shout down a room. She invited it to quiet down and then filled the space with clarity. That is why the moment endures.